Hey everyone, how are you all doing? So today I'm going to be giving you my personal review of Zootopia 2, the long-awaited sequel of Disney's Zootopia movie that a lot of people loved. I'm basically gonna be just giving you my thoughts and opinions, some things I liked, some things I didn't like. I'll keep a certain section of the video like spoiler free so you don't have to worry about spoilers, but I will also dedicate another section to talking about some spoilers, since there are some things I kind of want to discuss and give my takes on. So, without wasting any further time, let's just get right into it. Okay, so where do I begin? So, the movie takes place right after the first one, where after Judy and Nick catch Mayor Bellwether, I think that was her name, the villain from the last movie, the sheep. And the movie kind of follows the same flow as the last movie, where it's like a detective, like cop story, where Nick and Judy are kind of just like working together to figure out this new case where like shady things are going around the city. So the approach isn't really all that different. It also follows a similar metaphor of the racism theme that was tackled in the last movie. That kind of follows here as well, where this time, instead of like predators sort of being outcasted, it's the reptiles after like one certain incident. So there's that theme again. It's kind of the themes and metaphors, and just the buddy cop flow is redone here in this movie. It's just packaged differently. A lot of this movie is the same from the last movie, which isn't bad, but it's not like really all that new either. Again, there are changes made, like again, they expand upon the world of Zootopia, exploring more parts of the city, more areas, a little bit more depth into the history, so that's cool to see. So that kind of changes up the flow and the way the movie's presented. But at the like very bare bones of it, it's kind of the same movie. And to be honest, I mean, it's pretty enjoyable. Again, if you really loved the first one, I think you're gonna like the second one. It's a lot of it's the same stuff, it's just packaged differently. It's not all too bad, it's not all too great. It's just, plain good. Of course, I hinted earlier at the more expansion of the world, which is I actually love to see. There's more areas we explore, more places a little bit outside of the city. For example, like the weather walls that were introduced in this movie that kind of like keep certain environments alive and cooperable with different sort of environments, which is actually very cool, as well as just seeing like other animals and other situations. And again, the history of Zootopia, how it, like the city all began, who created it, exploring all of that was pretty fun to see. And of course, the highlight of the movie, at least the more bigger focus of the movie, is Nick and Judy, because after they officially became partners in the police force, now this movie kind of focuses on them, trying to work together and be compatible and try to prove to everyone else and to the entire city that they are compatible and capable of working together. I think this also leads into some of the, I guess, criticisms I have of this movie. It's just that, especially when it comes to Nick and Judy, since of course they develop in a new different way, it's still the same as the first movie, where they like meet and they're at first they're not like compatible, but slowly but surely they start working together, and it actually turns out that they are compatible. So to kind of try to prove that again in this movie, it just feels the same as the first one. It's just not anything different, which was kind of a shame to see, and something that I kind of questioned when I saw the trailers, because again, like, this was kind of done in the first movie, and now this movie kind of just redoes that again. But their dynamic is explored differently. Again, like it doesn't change too much. Like, okay, like I said, in the bare bones of it, it's the exact same as the first movie, just repackaged in different ways. And of course, there's a little bit more development, a little bit more moments that they share that is actually very fun to watch that we didn't get in the first movie, which is actually really great. But I mean, I think those moments are very little and really not enough to not remind you that this sort of development that they get, again, it already just happened in the first movie. We're just kind of watching it again. But again, it doesn't mean it's terrible. It's just like, again, if you watch the first movie and if you love that, you're gonna like this one because it's just almost the exact same but just kind of repackaged. They have a lot of moments where like they kind of, you know, confess to each other of like how they feel and why like their views are so different, but I also think it's a little bit shallow as well. I just don't think there was much exploration between like their different views on the world and, you know, what things they can do, what things they have control over and not, and what kind of impact they have. Because Judy is a lot about, you know, changing the world and making the world a better place, while Nick is just like, it's just like, it is what it is. I mean, that's kind of his attitude, and it's like sometimes like being a hero, like trying your best, is just not gonna do anything. I just felt like they're falling out because, like, again, they do have like a fallout a little bit towards like the middle of the movie. I just wish that would have been done better because like it's just this little short moment, but I would have loved to see more dialogue between the two and see their disagreement. It's just their falling out kind of felt a little bit more rushed and just, you know, not really well done in my opinion. Because there's this like breaking point in the falling out where Judy hits the nail in a coffin where like she says like, maybe we are too different, maybe these people are like right. But again, it's just like one line. I just wish we would have seen like more dialogue between that. But like I said, they have some of their like nice moments, like towards the end of the movie where they kind of like reunite after Nick gets separated from Judy, where they kind of confess to each other that like, you know, Nick, you know, is very emotional about this and actually wants to run away from these missions because Judy's the only friend that he's ever had, and, you know, she's the most important person to him. So he confesses that, and then Judy is also like, you know, Nick was like the only person that only ever really believed in her and supported her in a lot of her, you know, rough spots and her missions. So those moments are like very awesome, and I loved watching that. I think that greatly develops their relationship and their partnership. Other stuff like the soundtracks, the background jokes, especially the background jokes, a lot of them are like pretty funny and hilarious. This one is also very action-packed. I think a little more action-packed than the last movie, because there's like quite a few crazy stuff that happens here. The animation-wise and visuals, come on, it's Disney. Of course they're gonna knock it out of the park. And, you know, all that other stuff like the soundtracks, everything else is just like, a lot of it's just pretty solid. The next thing I want to talk about is the villains. I don't know where to begin, again, because I don't want to spoil it too much. The villains are not bad. I don't know, because I don't know if I can compare them to Zootopia 1, because Zootopia 1's villains are like, because, you know, there's the whole twist villain thing, and all of this like shady stuff going on. Again, a lot of it is just like the same here in this movie, where, you know, there's like this villain that's kind of like up front in your face. Like it's shown like in this movie that you know, this is the bad guy here, you know, this is the shady stuff that he's doing. But, you know, there's some like twists and turns that, you know, kind of take you by surprise, to be honest. I mean, I was a little bit surprised. But I guess my main criticism of the villains, although they're just not like terrible, they're sort of generic, but they're kind of shallow as well. Like, there isn't much depth to the villains as I would have hoped, at least like personal wise, like personal motivations and stuff like that. There's not really any of that to these villains, which is, you know, kind of a shame. So I would say they're on par with like the villains from the last movie. Again, like I don't even think the last movie had like very in-depth personal motivations, but like one's enough to, you know, just one's enough to make you disagree with them and, you know, to go against them and be on the hero's side. But I mean, yeah, I feel like I really have to talk about spoilers, because it's just a lot of what I said may not make sense, because like for me it's better to connect with like just talking about what actually happens in the film and like kind of spoiling it. So this is where I'm gonna start talking about spoilers now. So going back to the villains are this rich family of lynxes who are believed to be the founders of Zootopia City. And in the process of, you know, them being named the founders, they framed the reptiles, or a snake that supposedly, again, they framed the snake that attacked them, and this caused the reptiles of Zootopia to be kind of like the new outcasts of this movie. And a lot of this movie is, you know, Nick and Judy like going through like these cases, figuring out like, you know, this case, you know, revealing the truths and all of this with the help of the new snake character and, you know, with other characters as well. So the founder son is the head of the family, and the son of that son turns out to be a twist villain, because at first he is shown to be like helping out like Judy and, you know, the snake into uncovering this conspiracy theory. But it turns out that he becomes the villain to try and prove to his father, because his family kind of just looks down upon this lynx a lot. So that son kind of becomes the twist villain. And again, it kind of pulls the same as, you know, as Mayor Bellwether in the first movie. But there is a little bit more depth to this character, but we don't see much of him. So yeah, he's like this twist villain with some in-depth motivation. I will say, it's just, I wish we would have seen more personal moments between him and his father, where it kind of makes his motivations more believable. Because we don't really see the dynamic between the twist villain and his family a lot. So to make, you know, his motivations and his emotions, you know, more believable and to resonate with the audience more, I just don't think we didn't get a lot of that. I mean, yeah, it's not bad. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like this is the most greatest film ever made. You know, I just think it's pretty solid. But one of the criticisms I do have of this movie, and this kind of goes back to, you know, the Nick and Judy and, you know, their relationship development, is I feel like Nick was sort of sidecasted a little in this movie, and he didn't really get much moments as Judy did, because Judy is all like into this case. She is emotional with, you know, the snake that's kind of like, that is outcasted, and Nick doesn't have any moments with them, because if you remember in the last movie, or in the first movie, Nick was like an outcast himself in a way, and to not give any moments for him to kind of resonate with the reptiles or the snake that is introduced, whose name is Gary, it just, I don't know, it kind of bothers me, and it felt like it was just some missed moments that would have made the film way better. And I think it would have contributed to Nick's development and his relationship with Judy even more. I've already said some stuff. I mean, I said the animation, the soundtracks, and like the world building, like again, expanding upon the world. It was just like very great. You know, I don't really think there's much, you know, spoilers I need there to talk about. At least I don't think. And I don't really have a lot of criticisms for this movie. I mean, again, like a lot of it is like the same as the first movie, just repackaged. It's still like enjoyable. Maybe just a couple of moments that I think that could have used a little bit more build up or more personal connections or moments. But other than that, it's just a pretty solid movie. I guess the one criticism I do have is that like the gazelle played by Shakira, like she has like some weird fashion that kind of indicates like her to be more revealing, which is just like kind of weird. Like I don't know, maybe that's just me, but you know, in a lot of days like today where we see like a lot of like celebrities dressed like very inappropriately, you know, there were just some moments in this movie where the main star, or I guess mascot, again, the gazelle played by Shakira, it felt like Disney was trying to like lean onto that a little bit, which is just weird. But I think that's really it. But as a sequel, it's not bad. I mean, it's not like, because like, okay, taking Inside Out 2 for example, right? Like that's a really good sequel because it introduces some new themes and a lot of that, and that's kind of what really grounds the story and what makes the story great, is that the themes are very good. And a lot of the themes and like messages and metaphors in Zootopia 2 are the same as the first one. Again, it just redoes it in just different ways. So it's not a bad sequel. I don't know if it's the ideal sequel though. I don't know. I'm still kind of processing it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, that's just how I overall just feel about this movie. Again, I love watching Judy and Nick's relationship develop in new ways and just some new moments for them, which is very fun and interesting to watch. You know, the case that they solve, it's new, it's interesting, but also at the bare bones, it's like the same thing. The story, again, it's almost like the same thing. Villains, twist villains, you know, similar to Zootopia 1. A lot of this movie is similar to Zootopia 1, which is already a good movie. I just don't know what else to say. Like, that's just what I think of the overall film. A lot of it's the same. A lot of things are done differently. It's both not bad, but also like not too great, you know, like not like hyperactive, like amazing. I think it's just a really solid movie. So as a sequel, I think it's solid. But yeah, overall, it's a pretty solid movie. You know, it has great messages about friendships. You know, iron sharpens iron, you know, as the Bible says. So I think this movie really does give some good moral messages. You know, about identity, trying your best, hoping for the best, trying to, you know, reveal the truth, you know, working hard to make, you know, a place a better place, to make the world a better place. So I think all of that is very great, and it would be fun for a family to watch. I think my overall rating of this movie is going to be I think a 7 or a 7.5 out of 10. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good rating. But yeah, if you watch the movie, let me know your thoughts on it. What do you think of it? And, you know, if my review helped you guys at all to decide whether to watch this movie or not, let me know your thoughts on my review in the comments down below, and I'll be sure to read them. But yeah, if you want to support this channel, feel free to like, subscribe, or even share my videos. All of that will be greatly appreciated. But anyways, God willing, I'll see you all in the next video. God bless.